Tales of baseball players past. Jazz hands. We dug into a box of 87 tops and just pulled out a stack of cards. And about the third player in, I was like, I don't remember this guy. I think this would be another fun video to do. So here we go. Mr. Russ Morman is going to be our next person up. He's going to be the number 2 video. Let's get cracking. I can't remember if the saying is life imitates art or art imitates life. But August 3rd, 1986 would eventually link both art and life together for well over a decade. We'll come back to that part. I don't want to get too philosophical on you guys right here at the jump. After all, we're here for baseball, not an ideology class. Russ Morman was born in Independence, Missouri on April 28, 1962. The big man played his college ball at Iowa Western Community College before transferring to Wichita State. 1983, the White Sox would come calling and drafted Morman in the first round ahead of players such as Chris Sabo, Rick Aguilera, Ron Gant, and one of the prides of Boone High School, Joe Oliver. Morman was assigned to the Glens Falls White Sox, where he played in 71 games, hitting 3 home runs and stealing 8 bases. 1984 saw him move down to the Single-A Appleton Foxes, where he hit .262 with a pro career high of 29 stolen bases. 1985, Russ would hit 24 homers and crack the 300 mark between Double-A Glens Falls and Buffalo. 1986, Morman continued putting bat to ball, tearing it up with the Bisons, and on August 2nd, 1986, Russ would get the call that Greg Walker, the White Sox first baseman, had broke his hand, and Chicago needed Russ to fill in. They needed him there the next day to start the game. Russ was about to get his first taste of the big leagues, his first cup of coffee, if you will. He found his fiancée Loretta in the stands and called her down to the dugout. "I'm going to the big leagues," he excitedly told her. She quickly drove him to the Buffalo airport, then raced in her car to make the drive to see his first game at Comiskey. Long drive, but she hoped she'd make it. She didn't make it in time for first pitch, but she continued to drive. She found the game on the radio dial. Russ's first big league at bat, hitting 6th in front of the legendary Carlton Fisk, facing former Gator Randy O'Neal, and on a 3-2 count, Russ Morman slapped his first hit and his first big league at bat, a single up the middle. Loretta could see it in her mind as she listened with excitement, picturing her soon-to-be husband's sweet swing. She continued to drive, the game blasting through the speakers. Meanwhile, at Comiskey, the ball made its way to the dugout, and Russ's first big league hit was now safely tucked away by his teammates. His next at-bat, in the 4th, would bring another first for Morman. His first big league home run, a moonshot that Morman secretly hoped wouldn't reach the upper deck, because he thought, if it did, they'd expect this every time. It didn't, barely. It landed in the lower deck. Russ now had his first RBI, first run, and first home run, and only his second career at bat. His third at bat, still in the 4th, is where, as they say, legends are made. Russ strolled to the plate to face Jim Slatton, the Brewers' all-time leader in wins, but now on the Tigers. The righty came set. Morman hit another single to center, 3 straight hits to start his legacy. That was looking more and more like the beginning of a huge baseball career. Loretta still hadn't made it to the park, but had heard each of Russ's huge moments while rushing down I-90. She finally piled into the stadium in time to see Russ's final at-bat of the game in the 7th, only to watch him fly out. But her heart was already filled with joy for her future husband. What neither of them knew until after the game was that Russ had become only the second player in Major League history to record 2 hits in the same inning in their big league debut, joining the ranks of only Billy Martin. Morman's career was on course to be historic, or so it seemed. The White Sox decided to platoon Morman for the rest of the season, though, ending 1986 with just 159 at-bats and only 4 home runs. 87 would see him in Hawaii on the Islanders, and 88 and 89 he'd find just 40 games or less each season on the White Sox, not hitting a single homer in the bigs in either one. On a June Chicago night in 88, Russ and Loretta took in a movie that, unbeknownst to them, would eventually become eternally tied to Russ through the end of Morman's career and beyond. Again, we'll get back to that. After getting released by the White Sox, Mormon found a new ball club to start over with, hoping to find that old glory again, thanks to John Bowles, his former manager, and Smokey Garrett, another one of his former managers. Both now in the Royals system, Bowles in the front office and Garrett as a third base coach. Bowles said he'd always wondered what Mormon would have been able to do if he'd have gotten 500 at-bats in the big league season. Fact is, we'll never know. Over 2 seasons with the Royals, Mormon only managed 50 at-bats with a big league club and only hit 1 home run. Over the next 10 years, Mormon spent most of his career down in the minors, much like the movie that would become forever connected to him. He spent brief stints with the Marlins in 94, 95, 96, and 97, playing his last big league game on September 27, 1997, pinch hitting for the pitcher, only to strike out. I'm not sure if Mormon got a ring for that World Series team or not, but he was on a World Championship squad. Mormon would go on to have a second career as a manager and a coach in the minors, retiring from baseball in 2015, or so I can tell. But luckily for us, and for him, that's not all of his story. Mormon's 1997 in the minors was arguably the best of his career, hitting 33 home runs and driving in 99. Both career highs for him and carrying a .319 average. After that big 97 season in the minors came the stop that would inevitably cement Mormon in baseball lore. Rush joined the Tampa Bay Rays farm system who, although they had plenty of talent at first base and DH in the bigs, Paul Sorrento and the Crime Dog, hoped to catch lightning in a bottle for their newly acquired Durham Bulls, who had just left the Braves franchise and jumped 2 levels up to AAA. Remember that movie that Russ and Loretta had seen in the theater oh so long ago? As you probably guessed, it was Bull Durham. And with him joining the Bulls, the comparison started immediately. See, at the time, Mormon was the active leader in career minor league home runs. And although he never quite made it to Crash Davis's 247, Mormon would end his career with 207 minor league homers. So, on those faithful days and nights in Durham, Andy Savoy would be proud when the hometown fans would chant, "Let's go Crash," as they all believed in the Church of Baseball one last time. The Mormon Church of Baseball, that is. I hope you guys enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed making it. It's definitely a fun series for me. I think we're going to continue doing this just because I have a great time with it. So if you want to, you can go back and watch our last video that we made right over here, and you can subscribe over here if you want to see future videos that are coming out. Thanks for sticking around. About Mormon. That didn't sound right. Mormon.